Good morning, everyone. My name is Ndali Saddam Amushelelo, the Commissar for Economic Development for the Namibia Economic Freedom Fighters. And today, I'd like to speak about a very serious issue. And this issue affects us all. Now, first thing is first. Our government raises most of its money through taxes. This simply means that when you go and buy your MTC recharge voucher or when you buy your TN mobile voucher, you're paying tax. Every time when you buy fuel, you pay a bunch of levies and taxes for that fuel that you're purchasing at the service station. The same with the water and electricity. This is how government literally collects money from us. Now, it doesn't matter whatever it is that you buy in this country, you can't run away from taxes. And they further then go and tax you for the income that you earn. This simply means that the salary that you get, they tax it and so forth. Now, what then happens is government then takes this money and then they're obviously supposed to do things for us. Things such as building roads, building schools, building police stations, public health facilities, hospitals, and you mentioned these things all. This is then what government is supposed to do. But here's the biggest problem that I have, and this is something we should debate about, and this is something that we should actually bring meaningful discussion and fruitful discussion from. Now, under the NEF government, this is the Namibia Economic Freedom Fighters, we are going to do away with government tenders. Now, before you all come and want to crucify us for saying we're going to do away with government tenders, over the last 32 years, when government has been handing out tenders, first thing is first, those tenders that we've been giving out, we have failed to build industries with those tenders that we're giving out. Because what happens is, here you get a well-politically connected son of a minister, son of a president, daughter of a president, or the minister's niece or uncle or whatsoever. And then these guys get awarded these tenders or these contracts. And then what they do is, let's say, for example, it's a contract for you to supply chairs to government schools. What those guys do is they just fly either to South Africa or they fly to China. They buy these things from China, and then obviously they come and then they deliver it to government. Now, let's assume a tender is worth 100 million for supplying chairs. When this guy goes to China and he procures these things from China, they are most probably going to cost him 40 million. Now, what this simply means is this guy then pockets 60 million Namibian dollars clean. Now, what happens to this 60 million Namibian dollars clean that this guy pockets from government? This guy obviously then goes on, buy his Porsches, buys his Ferraris, buys the girlfriend push gifts, and all these sorts of things. Now, as a result of this push gifts and all these Ferraris that are being purchased, the society literally benefits nothing from this 60 million that this one individual pockets from state money. No factory is built. This guy just walks alone. He doesn't have an office where there's a secretary that's at that office. It's basically just all briefcase businesses. Now, under a Namibia Economic Freedom Fighters government is going to procure goods and services directly from the individuals who supply those goods. How is it possible that you give out a government tender to buy stationeries to an individual who does not have a stationery shop? This simply means that this guy is going to add crazy markups. And then who pays this cost? It's taxpayers. Now, as taxpayers, we need to start holding government accountable for our tax money. Because our tax money is supposed to ensure that we've got enough clinics, we've got enough hospitals, and that there is medicines in those hospitals. But due to the fact that these tenders that are given out are heavily inflated, this is the reason why government is unable to procure enough medicine. Now, here's the problem. Let's take the Ministry of Health as an example. Panado maybe cost $1. But the moment this Panado goes out on tender, it now costs $25. What this simply means is that we were supposed to buy 25 Panados, but because now the cost of one Panado is $25, we can only buy one. Now, how much money does government have? Government doesn't have much money. And as a result of government not having much money, this is the reason why our old people do not have high blood pressure medication or medication at all in the hospitals. So this is the reason why we are calling for the abolishment of government issued tenders. If government wants to buy something, government knows where all the stores are, because government is the custodian of data in this country through the Namibia Statistics Agency. So meaning that government knows where you can buy stationery. But because these guys want to continue enriching themselves, guys, tenders is nothing but an enrichment game. And as a result of this enrichment game, it's only the politically connected that benefited from this game. The rest of you have not benefited anything, because number one, you are either not politically connected, or number two, you are nobody in society. Number three, you have no idea how this tendering system works. So what we're going to do is we're going to do away with this tender system. And then what we're going to do is government is going to start procuring directly from these companies. Now, in order for you to benefit from our procurement system, number one, you need to ensure that you're hiring Namibian individuals. That's the first thing that we need to ensure if you're going to benefit from state tenders under the Namibia Economic Freedom Fighters government. And then number two, you need to ensure that you are the one producing those particular goods. Where you are unable to produce those goods, what government will do is, government, let's say for example, we want you to start producing Panado. Government will either create a state-owned enterprise and hire pharmacists and all these people who studied how to make medicine. And then this state-owned company will then start producing medicine for the government. And then all the pharmacists and this biochemist and all these guys, they can then start working under this state-owned enterprise. We then equip it with the state-of-the-art facilities to ensure that everything is up and running. And then what we then do is we then get SMEs. We equip and train these SMEs, and these SMEs will then be providing essential services to this state-owned enterprise. Let's say, for example, our IT infrastructure, or we need them to be doing delivery of certain things and all those things. It will be then done by these SMEs, so SMEs can also benefit from this ecosystem that we're building. But government would then be the main guy who ensures that the medication is provided to the hospitals. This way, even when government doesn't have money to buy those medicine at that time, because this entity is state-owned, it can then supply government with the necessary medication that's needed at the hospitals, and will pay our invoices at a later stage. This is why
Ja, kry daai shandy sê. Die man kort. JJ kort mos niks nie. Jy kort mos niks by die trailer nie. Ek sê jy kort mos niks by die trailer nie. Ek sê jy kort mos niks by die trailer nie, daai nie wat is. Alles is mos daar. Ja, maak hom mos net klaar. Sure.
Can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, I think you can hear me now. So government knows where to procure salt, but for some reason, they would rather opt to give a tender for someone to go and get salt at a high inflated price, and then these people become millionaires overnight, and they now buy their Range Rovers and they buy all sorts of things at the expense of who? At the expense of our government fiscal. Now, at this moment, we are borrowing a lot of money. Now, the reason why we're borrowing such a lot of money is simply because there's too many people that we need to feed through tenders. But these people that we need to feed is just one or two individuals. Guys, let us never be afraid to call a spade a spade. If you go now and check government records, you will realize that it's only certain individuals, a certain few family friends that have benefited from government tenders and contracts over the past few years. Now, we cannot continue to have a situation where only one or two people are wealthy at the expense of the rest of the nation. We'll change all of these laws and we'll ensure that Namibians achieve economical freedom in their lifetime. The other thing that we're going to look into is the issuing of fishing quotas. So here's the problem that we currently have. Right now, most of these fishing quotas, we are obviously issuing them to well-connected individuals. Now, these individuals we are issuing these fishing quotas to, number one, they don't have fishing vessels. Number two, they don't have fishing factories. Number three, they have no knowledge of the fishing industry. And number four, we're just issuing it to them because they are politically motivated and politically connected. Now, what we're going to do is, under a NEF government, the government of the day is going to establish fishing factories, state of the art. We are going to buy our own fishing vessels. And what we are going to do is we are going to employ our own people. We are going to pay our people decent rates because it's a state-owned enterprise. They're going to have medical benefit. They're going to have pension benefits. They are going to have all benefits that the people currently do not have. Because right now, most of our people are being exploited by these fishing companies. Now, why are these people being exploited by these fishing companies? It's because we currently have politicians that have a hand in these fishing quotas. Now, as a result of this, our people, when they complain, no one hears them. Because why? The person who's supposed to implement and enforce the law, he's the same person who's benefiting from your exploitation. I've seen pay slips of people being paid $500 per month. These people are working in fishing factories that make 2.3 billion Namibian dollars. Guys, we cannot allow the exploitation of our resources and the exploitation of our people. When the Namibia Economic Freedom Fighters government comes into power, we are going to do away with handing fishing quotas to politically connected individuals and to individuals who have absolutely no capacity. The fishing industry is going to be a state-owned industry, meaning that it is only the government that will be allowed to do fishing. And we are going to fish for the benefit of Namibians. If there are no markets for us to sell the fish, what the NEF government will do is will ensure that the poor households in Namibia are distributed with fish on a monthly basis. If the outside world says that, no, we don't want to buy your fish or whatever because we have now make it a state-owned industry. It's not a problem. We'll consume our fish. Guess what? Fish contains omega-3. Omega-3 is important for our minds. It's important for our brains. Now, the more fish we start consuming, we'll become a very smart nation. We'll become a nation of thinkers, and we'll become a nation of doers, because we now have a lot of omega-3 in our bodies, and we'll also become healthier. So let us not be concerned about the individuals who are going to say that, no, you cannot nationalize the fishing industry, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 this. No. The fishing industry, we are going to nationalize it. Make no mistake, fishing industry will be nationalized under the Namibia Economic Freedom Fighters government. And we'll ensure that our people are paid decent wages, and they will also benefit from their natural resources. That is all that I had to share with you guys today. And make no mistake, we are the only party that has an economic agenda for this country. All other parties, they just want to come into power for the sake of wanting to come into power. We are the only party with an economic plan. Make no mistake about that. Because number one, this party is being led by capable leadership, a leadership that doesn't do the ordinary. We are very radical in our approach. We don't want to do what others have failed to do in the past. You see, the normal way of doing things is no longer working. So what we need now is a new approach and a new way of doing things. But we can only achieve this if we have Namibians who start taking an interest in their country. For as long as you don't care about your country, for as long as you just sit by and watch and say that, no, you have no power, there's nothing that can be done, then unfortunately, you are the people who are letting down your country. You are betraying your motherland. Don't betray your motherland. Stand up for your motherland. Your motherland needs you to defend it. Your motherland needs you to be there for it. It's time for us to join hands and unite so that we can economically free this country. It doesn't help we've got political independence. For as long as we have political independence, we'll just continue making political noise. What we need is to own the means of production. I'll speak about the topic of the means of production later today or during the course of the weekend. But this is a very important discussion that we need to have, because it will bring perspective in terms of what is means of production. From my side, the Commissar for Economic Development will continue fighting for the poor and the working class and the dejected masses of our country. Don't give up hope. Don't feel that there's nothing that can be done. We are going to save this country. We are going to ensure that this country is in better hands. Thank you very much. And please support the party. Support it by becoming members. Support it by buying your party regalia, so that we have more red berets, so that we have more soldiers on the ground. We are busy putting a plan of action into place. And as we are busy speaking as well, I've forwarded this to the leadership that is currently in Parliament. We are going to draft a bill to oppose state tenders being given out, and government should start procuring things directly. And there's a lot of other proposals that we're going to give. But just remember, we are just two currently in Parliament. We have no absolute power in Parliament. However, with your assistance, we can have more seats in Parliament so that we can effectively change many laws in this country for the benefit of ordinary Namibians. We are tired of these things where politicians only change laws to benefit themselves, but they never change laws to benefit the people who vote them into power. We are a party that's going to serve you, We are going to serve your interest. We are going to serve you in the best possible manner. And that is what leadership is all about. If there's food to be eaten, we'll make sure the Namibians first eat. And then once you guys have eaten, you can then give us the leftovers. This is how leadership is supposed to be. You are the people who should be running this country. We should just be in charge to say which side must we drive it. But right now, we have an arrogant government, completely arrogant, very rude, has no compassion, has no love for its people. And this is the type of government that we want to replace. We want to replace it with a compassionate one. We want to replace it with a listening one. We want to replace it with a loving one. You need your government to be loving. You need your government to be one. It's not correct that the only time you see politicians is during election time. You are supposed to see politicians every single day. The other thing that we're going to do, guys, under a Namibia Economic Freedom Fighters government, there will be no government cars being given to individuals. If you want a government car, unfortunately, there will be no government car. What you are going to do is you are paid a salary. It's a good salary. You have a car allowance. You buy your own car. We cannot be wasting taxpayers' money so that we can be driving nicely while our taxpayers are footing. The people you are the ones paying tax. The individuals are buying for themselves nice Mercedes-Benz, but you are the one paying the tax. That is going to come to an end. If you are going to come to the NEF government, you are a minister or whatsoever, you either buy your own car or you take taxi. There will be no fuel cuts for government. You must pay for your own fuel. And this is why the government does not have an interest in us importing fuel from Angola. Because these guys don't pay for fuel. These guys use taxpayers' money to pay for their fuel. Now, when you use taxpayers' money, that's not your money. So you don't feel it, you don't care. So when people are now here crying about petrol prices are high, the politicians don't care. Because why? We've got petrol cuts, my brother. Government petrol cuts. I'm swiping your tax money left, right, and center. I drive to the north. I drive to Swakop with my side chicks. This weekend, I'm in a Tosha with my side chicks. Because why? Your tax money, boss. We are eating it. That's what they are telling you. And that's why they don't care. So, thank you for listening. Please, thank you for always sharing these videos. Let's share them more. Let's make them viral. Let the people realize that we are not just noise makers as people claim to be. We have practical, radical ideas that can change this country. But obviously, the noise makers, our haters, our detractors want to paint us as hooligans. We've got no protocol. We've got hatred and all of these things. No, it's all a lie. It's a lie because they don't want you to listen to these powerful messages that we are giving you. Because they realize the moment you start listening to us, the moment you start paying attention, they are going to realize that they are the ones who are busy with the bullshit. They are the ones who are busy lying to you. They are the ones who are busy making a fool out of you. And that's why they don't want you to listen to us. That's why they are branding us. That's why they are giving us all sorts of names. Because they realize that they can't intellectually compete with the ideas that we are bringing to the table. They can't compete with our radicalism. They can't compete with this revolution. So thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. And have yourselves a lovely weekend. And stay safe. And we'll keep in touch. And as for the workers that are still being molested and aggravated and exploited by these individuals, take note that we are taking note of your suggestions, your comments, and we'll start dealing with these companies one by one. Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye-bye.